Quinoa vs rice. Which one is better? In this video, we're going to compare these two popular grains and figure out which one comes out on top. We will look at nutrition, taste, and texture, how to cook them, and finally, how they can be used in different recipes. So let's get started. Quinoa and rice are both gluten-free grains that can be included in a balanced diet. They're both filling carbohydrates that work well as side dishes or as a base for grain bowls. However, there are differences between the two. So here's a comparison of their nutritional content per 100 grams. Both grains contain around 350 calories. However, quinoa has slightly more at 368 versus 349 in rice. Quinoa also contains slightly more protein with 4.4 grams compared to 2.7 in rice. Fat content is similar with 1.9 grams in quinoa and 1.8 grams in rice. But quinoa has a little bit more fiber with 2.8 grams versus 2.6 in rice. Both are a good source of carbohydrates with about 75 grams. When it comes to vitamins and minerals, both are good sources of manganese. However, rice has more at 15% of the daily value, DV, compared to 11% in quinoa. It also has more magnesium, phosphorus, and zinc. Quinoa has more iron, B vitamins, and vitamin E. It also contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it a complete protein. So if you want a higher protein content and more essential amino acids, go for quinoa. If you need more iron in your diet, choose quinoa. And if you'd like more manganese, magnesium, phosphorus, or zinc, then go for rice. Many people don't know this, but there are actually many different types of rice: white rice, brown rice, black rice, wild rice, and parboiled rice, to name a few. They all have slightly different textures and nutritional contents. Wild rice is actually a type of aquatic grass and isn't related to other rices. When it comes to cooking time, parboiled rice takes 15 minutes. White and brown rice take 18 minutes, and wild rice takes 45 minutes. There are 3 main types of quinoa. These are white, red, and black. White quinoa is most commonly found and has a mild flavor and fluffy texture. Red and black quinoa have a slightly nutty flavor and creamier texture. Red quinoa has a beautiful pigment and is often used to add color to salads or side dishes. Cooking time is approximately 15 to 20 minutes. So in general, rice tends to have a softer and sometimes sticky texture depending on the type of rice you use. While quinoa has a slightly firmer texture, some people may prefer the soft texture of rice over quinoa. This is especially true for those who have sensitive teeth or who have difficulty chewing. The soft texture of rice can be easier to manage. On the other hand, the firmer texture of quinoa may be preferable for those looking for a less starchy option. Quinoa's unique texture may also make it more interesting and satisfying to eat. Additionally, the creamy texture of red and black quinoa adds a unique element to salads and other dishes. Ultimately, the preferred texture can be subjective and may vary based on personal preference and the intended use of the grain. Rice has an almost neutral taste, so it doesn't really complement or enhance the flavors of the dish it's served with. Quinoa has a slightly bitter taste due to the saponin coating. However, rinsing it before cooking removes most of the bitterness. Compared to rice, quinoa has a more intense and complex flavor profile with nutty and even peppery notes. This makes it a more interesting option for those looking to add some variety to their meals. Its distinct taste can add a unique depth of flavor to salads, side dishes, and grain bowls. Ultimately, the choice between the two grains will depend on your taste preferences and the specific dish you are preparing. So now that we know how they taste and their textures, let's learn how to cook them. Let's start with rice. Rinse the rice thoroughly in a fine mesh strainer until the water runs clear. Add the rice and water to a medium saucepan with a tight-fitting lid. Bring to a boil, then immediately reduce heat to low. Cover and simmer for 15 minutes for parboiled rice, 18 minutes for white or brown rice, and 45 minutes for wild rice. Remove from heat and let stand, covered, for 5 minutes. Fluff with a fork and serve. To cook quinoa, rinse it thoroughly in a fine mesh strainer. Add the quinoa and water to a medium saucepan with a tight-fitting lid. Bring to a boil, then immediately reduce heat to low. Cover and simmer for 15 minutes for white quinoa, 18 minutes for red or black quinoa. Remove from heat and let stand covered for 5 minutes. Fluff with a fork and serve. Both grains can be stored in airtight containers at room temperature for up to 2 years. However, cooked rice and quinoa should be refrigerated and used within 5 days. So we've learned about their nutritional profiles, their unique properties, and how to prepare them. Now let's explore how each of these grains can be used in various recipes. Rice is incredibly versatile and can be used in countless recipes from classic side dishes to sushi and desserts. Some popular ways to use rice include fried rice, rice pudding, risotto, and stuffed peppers. You can also use it as a base for grain bowls, Buddha bowls, and as a side dish for curries, stir-fries, and grilled meats or tofu. With its neutral taste and soft texture, rice is an excellent canvas for incorporating various flavors and textures into your meals. Quinoa's unique taste and firmer texture make it an excellent base for grain bowls, salads, and side dishes. It's frequently used in combination with roasted vegetables, herbs, nuts, and seeds for added flavor and texture. Additionally, quinoa's high protein content and gluten-free properties make it a great alternative to traditional pasta or couscous in salads. You can toss cooked quinoa with your favorite vegetables, herbs, and a light dressing for a quick and nutritious meal. Quinoa can also be used as a breakfast porridge by cooking it in milk or yogurt and topping it with fresh fruit, nuts, or honey. For a more savory approach, you can mix cooked quinoa with mashed avocado, salsa, and beans for a delicious and filling burrito bowl. Its nutty flavor and firm texture make it an excellent addition to stuffed mushrooms, bell peppers, or tomatoes. Quinoa can also be used as a crust for pizzas or burgers, offering a healthier alternative to traditional bread or pastry crusts. If you're trying to decide between these two grains, consider the following. If you're looking for a lower calorie option with a higher protein content and more essential amino acids, go for quinoa. If you need more iron in your diet, choose quinoa. And if you'd like more manganese, magnesium, phosphorus, or zinc, then go for rice. Rice is a good option if you prefer a softer texture, or if you're looking for a more neutral-tasting grain that won't compete with the flavors of the dish. It's important to note that both rice and quinoa are nutritious grains that can be part of a healthy diet. The choice between the two ultimately comes down to personal preference, dietary needs, and the specific dish you're preparing. Feel free to experiment with both rice and quinoa in your own cooking and discover your favorites. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe for more.